Henry Cejudo. What could have been and what does he do now in his fighting career? You guys want to see Henry Cejudo fight again? Because Dana White didn't seem like he wants to see him fight again. At the post-fight press conference, they talked about him rematching Song Yadong, and Dana White was not interested in that. And he seemed like he didn't think any fans or anybody be interested. So, you guys want to see him fight Song Yadong again? It's tough seeing someone like Henry Cejudo go from double champ, walking out on top, to getting hit with the Three Stooges, the double eye poke versus Song Yadong like that. We say it all the time, Father Time, undefeated, and usually you don't see people look good at the end of their career. Nobody goes out looking good. It's very rare, and Henry had that. Henry was out on top as champ, and you never see that. You very rarely find guys that are able to retire as champion. And the big mistake for Henry, it's now starting to look like, was coming out of retirement. It usually doesn't go well in combat sports when you see a fighter come out of retirement, and it has not gone well for Henry Cejudo. You know, Cejudo, unfortunately, made what turned out to be a mistake by trying to negotiate with Dana White and the UFC in public after he beat Dominic Cruz. You know, he wanted more money. All fighters want more money, but the negotiations didn't go well for him, and not only did he lose the negotiations, he lost years of his prime. And he tried to make a comeback, I feel like, a lot over that 3-year span that he was out, and the UFC just wasn't interested. I know Ali Abdelaziz fought hard for him to get that title shot and get that Aljo fight, but for the longest time, I remember the UFC not being interested. I remember at one point Dana White saying something along the lines of like, "Oh, Henry Cejudo can come back, but we'll take him if he wants to come out of retirement, but he's not getting a title shot." And that's crazy considering he retired as a champion, was a double champion. Like, you would think he walks right in and gets a title shot immediately, but that was not the case with the UFC at first. Eventually, he came back and fought Aljo, but I mean, the UFC has the numbers. They have the social media numbers, the pay-per-view numbers, the viewership numbers. They know what you're going to generate for them. They know what your fights usually are going to draw based off of these metrics that they have, and they didn't think Henry Cejudo was worth it, I guess. The other thing the UFC has is they have the contracts, and we've seen it time and time again. Renegotiating a contract that they have on the books does not go well. We've seen guys fight out their contract and then be able to renegotiate, but if you try to renegotiate a contract that they already have, the ink has dried on, doesn't go well. Think of anybody who ever tried to renegotiate. You got Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz, John Jones when he left for that 3 years, Francis Ngannou. I've never seen it really go well. And Henry Cejudo tried to do it out in the open with Dana White, and I feel like really tarnished his relationship with the UFC. Dana White lost a lot of interest in him, and I think kind of should be getting more money. I think all the fighters should get more money, but dare I say, Henry kind of overvalued his worth, especially to the UFC. So we get years of Henry Cejudo's prime out the window with failed negotiations. Then 3 years go by. We finally get him versus Aljamain, and loses that fight, close split decision. So what's crazy about the fall of Henry Cejudo, if you will, is lost a close split decision to Aljo, one round or one judge away from winning that fight. And it could have been this storybook ending or crazy tale of Henry Cejudo coming out of retirement, but winds up losing that fight. Year goes by. They give him Merab. Merab winds up dominating the fight. At one point, picking him up like a baby, carrying him to the other side of the octagon and slamming him down. I feel like that was huge minus in aura points for Cejudo right there. Definitely lost a lot of his luster, a lot of his shine with that one, being the Olympic champion wrestler, then getting dragged around the octagon by this Georgian, or just getting out-wrestled, out-grappled by Merab. And then you get another year off, and you get Song Yadong, and he wasn't looking good in that fight. I feel like he clearly lost all 3 rounds. I saw 2 judges actually gave him a round, but I don't think he won around in that fight. He made some good adjustments when he switched to southpaw, and we've seen that in the past from Henry Cejudo, him make adjustments mid-fight when it's not going his way, but he just wasn't getting to Song Yadong the way he needed to. Then came the eye poke, and I don't know, what did you guys see? Did Henry want to be out of there? Was he looking for a way out with that? I mean, if you've been eye poked, you know it's no fun. It definitely can fuck up your vision, especially your eye can kind of be blurred for a little bit before it comes back. He definitely got eye poked, but the fight wasn't going his way. I saw a lot of people questioning whether or not he could continue. Dana White spoke at the post-fight press conference. He said he's seen a lot of fights with eye pokes where the guys continued, but unless you're Henry, you don't know what he was really dealing with right there, but wasn't winning that fight. Wasn't going good for him. Was definitely losing every round of that fight. Probably would have got 50-45 had the fight continued. And just it's tough. He went from a spot on MMA's Mount Rushmore to kind of being a cautionary tale, letting fighters know that if you can get out, get out. If you can get out on top, get out. You know, Father Time, again, it's undefeated, and once you retire, it's best to stay retired in fighting. After that fight with Yodong, too, I saw both guys were like, we could run it back. Let's do it again. And then at the post-fight press conference, they asked Dana White about it. Dana White said he has absolutely no interest in running that fight back. Doesn't want to see it again. Did not lead anyone to believe that he's rebooking that fight or that Cejudo is moving forward or staying where he is with that. And definitely didn't seem like a Henry Cejudo fan. So now we're left with what's next for Henry Cejudo. Does he go further down the rankings? Does he fight another lower-ranked guy, someone lower-ranked than Song Yadong? It sucks, to see guys fall off like that, hit little losing skids, especially someone like Cejudo, who was just arguably in the GOAT conversation, one of the best bantamweights, flyweights of all time, and now is he tarnishing his legacy a little bit with this losing streak since he came out of retirement? That's up to the fans to decide, I guess, but what's next for him? He had some beef with O'Malley, could have been a good fight, could have been a good build-up. He had some beef with Brandon Moreno, could have been a good fight, could have been a good build-up, but I feel like those could have been big fights, but now, are those fights going to happen on a 3-fight losing streak? I don't think so. So, just further down the rankings he moves, 38 years old. The one person I did see that they could match him up with is Jose Aldo. That could be a good fight. That's a fight I would tune in for. And other than a Jose Aldo fight, the only thing that's left for him is fighting other younger guys like Song Yadong's, but even lower in the rankings. And is that something Cejudo's interested in at 38? I don't know. So the only fight right now is probably Jose Aldo, and who the fuck wants to fight Jose Aldo, especially on a 3-fight losing streak? It's rough. Should have just stayed retired. Guy could have walked away as the double champ and defied the combat sports gods, and instead, got the itch, and now he's got 3 losses in a row. He's looking down the barrel of 4 losses in a row, and that's the end of most guys' careers. Is it doesn't end with a winning streak and retiring as champion like he had. It usually ends on a losing streak and things not going your way. And that's what we're seeing now, unfortunately, for Cejudo. And I think the end of his career might have an impact on his status as a legend or in the GOAT conversation. Like, he's just moving himself pegs down in those conversations, which sucks to see. For me, I think he's absolutely one of the best flyweights we've ever seen, one of the best bantamweights. But again, he lost those years of his prime, came out of retirement, hit a losing streak. Father Time caught up to him like it does to every fighter. And he went from arguably the GOAT at 125 or 135 to now in the conversation, but he's just moving himself down the list. So what's left for Cejudo now? 3 losses in a row, 38 years old. Is he going to get to 4 4 losses in a row and then retire, because I feel like he's just hurting his legacy and his legendary status with each fight. He's definitely, I don't want to say deteriorating in skills, but he's getting old. He's deteriorating in performances. I feel like he put up a great fight with Aljo, but after that, got smoked by Marab. After that, got smoked by Song Yadong. Are we gonna watch him get smoked by fucking Kyler Phillips or someone else lower down the rankings? Like Aljo and Marab, no, those are two of the best at bantamweight of all time, you could say. But is Song Yadong gonna go down as one of the all-time greats? I don't know. It still remains to be seen. He's still young, but so Cejudo versus Jose Aldo. That's the only thing that's left for him, I think. And if he's not fighting Jose Aldo, I would like to see Henry Cejudo retire again, because I only think it's going to get worse from here. And I like Henry. I've been a Henry fan. I would dare I say a Henry supporter. And I don't want to see Triple C. I saw a lot of people spamming the comments saying Triple L. I don't want to see him turn into, you know, a complete joke and really tarnish his legacy. So I'd like to see Cejudo hang him up right now, or maybe fight Jose Aldo. And if he wins, retire. If he loses, retire. If not, just hang him up now, because I think the story right now is Henry Cejudo should have never came out of retirement the first time, because it hasn't gone well for him. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you feel about the Jose Aldo fight, or who you think you should fight next. And do me a favor, click that like, subscribe, throw me some comments, and I'll see you guys next time. Well, see you later.